when you found the property, this property that you're in right now, you found it on Yapo. How much was it? How much did you pay? And you said you have about 40
Yeah,
acres. Is that correct?
for 40 acres of land with a river with 600 to 700 meters of river frontage, slopes that you can ski down if you wanted to, and a lot of and four mountain springs. You have to understand that the property was left to the hands of God. There was
Mhm.
nothing here. The tree, everything was good. The grass was growing wild. It was wild. And my mum, she went to the middle of the land, looked around, saw the mountain peaks. You'll see it when I send you a photo. Saw the mountain peaks, saw the river because we live right up. One of our boundaries is the a river called Rio Norte, and
Hmm.
it's full of trout. Two
Ooh,
types of trout,
nice.
brown trout and rainbow trout. My mum said, "Okay, I'll take it. I offer you 50 million." And the real estate agent went, spoke to the and 50 million it was.
Okay, so today we have a special podcast. I'm meeting for the first time with this gentleman that lives in the secret valley of Patagonia. My new amigo, Rodrigo Deplaza. Rodrigo, thanks for doing the
Hello, Ray. How are you?
podcast.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. How are you all?
Hey man, it's a pleasure meeting you. Mucho gusto. Thanks for doing the podcast. I'm really excited to talk to you to figure out how in the heck you landed in Patagonia of all places. So Rodrigo, let's start out by doing this. Give us a little backstory about who you are, where you're originally from, and how you landed in this secret valley of Patagonia.
Well, Australian I am. Came out of Australia. Most My entire life I was in Australia. We're Chilean of origin, and we moved to my mum. My family moved to Australia shortly before the coup in Chile.
Ooh.
So we were living in Chile for over 30 plus years. But I mean, Australia, living in Australia for 30 plus years. And Australia started getting bad. The crime was going bad, cost of living was going high. And then one day we said, had enough with it. And we decided to move to Chile, which is where my mum was born. And initially we were going to move to Talca, which is a city in the Maule region of of Chile. But at the time, Talca was too expensive. And so we went further down south to Temuco. And in Temuco, we bought a house and renovated the house. And that's where the funds came out to be able to move further south. And in Temuco, we lived from 2000 till 2019.
Okay. Wow.
Temuco was a lovely, lovely town. It's a university town and a lovely town, all agricultural. And then Santiago, the crime of Santiago reached Temuco. And again, like many people, we left Temuco and we were going to move to Talca back north. And unfortunately, the drought was hitting Chile, which had been going for about 10, 15 years
Hmm.
in the northern part of the country. And we found a nice property in that area, but the property was no water, and any homestead without water is not going to survive.
Hmm.
So the truth is, how did we end up in ASEN? I've got no idea, but we ended up here. We first looked in a little town called Janada Grande, which is next to Cochamo, which is where a lot of really touristy area. Everyone thinks that this is where the Patagonia starts and further south. But we found out that once every 60 years, there's a massive rat plague,
Hmm.
which the rats come down from the mountains, eat everything in the way, and into the house, everything. They eat everything.
Wow.
So they crossed that off. and we decided to move to further south,
Okay.
and that's when we ended up here.
So, Rodrigo, let's back up a little bit. So, you first lived in this university town. What was the name of it again?
Temuco, T
Temuco.
E, yeah, Temuco.
And how close was that to Santiago?
That was basically it would have been about 600 kilometers.
600 kilometers. So, it's not close.
Not close.
Okay.
Chile is a long country.
Okay.
We live we live exactly nearly 1,800 kilometers from Santiago, and then there's another thousand and something kilometers to the last northern city of Chile.
Let's go back to Temuco. So, you lived there for almost 20 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, yep,
Okay. And
almost 20.
you bought a house or you built a house?
We bought the house. I
You,
bought an old rundown house, and because we were Australian, we were used to renovating houses. So we renovated the house. The house was built in 1960 out of pure noble, that's called madera noble, which
okay.
is in translate, it's noble wood. It's a really expensive wood, like oak and stuff like that. So we
Hmm.
just renovated that, and once we were ready, we sold it, and we made nearly how much we bought it for about the house we bought for about 50 million pesos Chileno, which was roughly about 49,000 US dollars, something like that. And
Okay.
then we sold it for about 250 million.
Oh, so Temuco became a pretty hot spot destination.
Very, yeah. When we first arrived, it wasn't that popular.
Thinking about moving abroad? Adventure Freaks is packed with resources to help you every step of the way. Want immigration support? We connect you with experts who understand the process inside and out, giving you the most up-to-date, reliable information. No more sifting through outdated websites or confusing embassy pages. You can click on the country you're interested in and scroll down and see our helpful links here. Here's immigration and visas, which will connect you with an immigration lawyer in that country. Curious about life abroad? Talk to expats who've already made the move, all of which we've done podcasts with on our YouTube channel. Whether it's day-to-day living or navigating local bureaucracy, they've been there and can share their firsthand experience. You can also book a one-on-one consultation with me. I've spoken with hundreds of expats and professionals around the world, and I'm here to help you navigate the process and find the right destination for you. Not sure where to go? Our Ideal Destination Finder can help. Answer 20 simple questions and discover the top 3 countries that match your lifestyle and priorities, all based on your answers. Plus, you can dive into our helpful articles covering everything from finding housing to understanding healthcare abroad. AdventureFreaks.com makes it easy to get the answers you need straight from the source. If you're ready to start your journey, we're here to help.
It was really the area that we lived. Became really, really popular,
Is this
and that's the
area
good thing about Chile.
is that area considered Patagonia as well?
No,
No. Okay, it's up further north.
further north.
Okay.
They're from Puerto Montt, Puerto Varas, which is in the 10th region of no, the ninth region, no, 10th region of Chile. From there south is Patagonia,
Okay.
the Chile Patagonia.
Okay. Yeah, so most of my viewers, they're going to be coming from the UK, Canada, United States, and many of them have never been to Chile before.
Mhm.
So this is going to be a fun one to discuss and share with them because they're not familiar with the terrain, but Chile and Argentina share Patagonia.
Yeah.
Explain to the viewers what Patagonia is.
Okay. Initially, Patagonia belonged to Chile. All of the Patagonia was Chilean. And I believe in 18 something, uh, Chile decided to sell the worst part of Patagonia, the Argentinian side, to the Argentinians and kept the best part to themselves. And it's good because, and that's where we live. Now, In the Patagonia is really remote.
Hmm.
Remote. If you're an Australian, you understand what remote means. In Australia, your neighbour could be 2, 3 hours away. Your
Right.
closest town is probably 6 hours away. That's that the Australians would understand what remote is. Here, we live 80 kilometers from the capital city, which is Kojeke. And the locals think that is remote. That is too far away.
Hmm.
But for an Australian, that's nothing. That's
When
probably for an
when
Australian, that's nothing.
when you say the capital city, what's the name of that?
Kojeke,
So let me
the,
ask you
the
this. Santiago is the
yep,
capital of Chile.
capital of Chile.
So why are you saying
Chile is divided into regions.
right?
12, 13 regions. I can't remember off the top of my head. Each region is like a state in the US or a province in Canada,
Okay.
right? So the regions and the capital city in each region is Coyhaique for Aysén, Punta Arenas for Magallanes, and so forth. Santiago is the capital city of all Chile,
Okay.
but each region got its own little capital.
Coyhaique is the capital of Asen.
Aysén, yeah, yeah.
Now, what is the town you live in?
I don't. The closest town that we live in is Vision Nidawal. That town sits on what the locals called La Valle de la Luna, the Valley of the Moon.
Okay.
Because if you look at the valley, it's 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 like a moonscape,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the contrast is what you'll see in that photo is something like out of Montana or South Dakota or North Dakota.
Okay.
Plain big sky country. The Yanks call it big sky country. It'd be
Okay.
something like in Australia, Moree or the outback. Now,
Okay.
the when you come, the reason I say I live in the secret valley is where the contrast is it is dry out there. It is harsh climate in that valley there. But when you come in here, it's lush green, emerald green, with
Okay.
trees. At the moment, we're in autumn and the trees are turning red. The leaves are turning red, changing color and everything, and it's just green here.
Hmm.
So that's the big contrast between, and that's the difference between Aysén and the rest of the country, Chile. In Chile, you've got a standard. Okay, you go in the middle, it's gonna be dry and green. But in Aysén, you've got microclimates everywhere.
Okay.
You've
Interesting.
got little hidden valleys where the it may be uh, let's say in winter -10, -20 further south, and
Hmm.
up here it's only just 1 degree. In
That's
the next valley, it's probably going to be -5. So
right.
it's interesting.
Yeah, it sounds like it. So, Nidahau, Nidahua,
Nire wow.
Nidawau,
Nire, nire wow.
Nidawau, Nidawau.
That's it.
Okay, so
Exactly.
that's the closest city you're to. So you're not in a city. How
No,
far away is that city from where
20
you're?
kilometers.
How?
20 kilometers in the mountains.
20 kilometers in the mountains. Okay.
You got to go up a mountain and into a valley. So you got to go through a pass and into this valley that we live in.
Okay, so you're definitely where you are at in Patagonia. You are definitely going to need a vehicle to get around. There's
Oh yeah,
probably no public
you have to.
transportation.
There is the good thing about this Chile is that there is public transportation everywhere. But
Okay.
for where I live, you can catch a small little bus on Wednesdays and Fridays,
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
then that'll take you to the capital city, and that'll stop in every little town all the way into the capital city. Things are pretty
Wow.
much centralized, everything in the capital city in Aysén. Uh, but if you want your liberty, if you live in the country like I do, you need a truck. In Australia, it's called a ute. Yeah, in Chile, it's called a camioneta. So
Okay.
it's a so that allows you to bring supplies and pick up wood and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Uh, you have to have four-wheel drive
I
because
I imagine.
if you live in Kojaki, you can make do with a normal car, but you got to understand that winter here, even the roads in the city become ice rinks. So you have to have either all drive or you have to have tires with chains or with nails.
Yeah. Wow.
So the best thing to do is to have a four-wheel drive because that allows you freedom to go anywhere in ASEAN.
Yeah. Wow. Now, those little buses that come and take you two times a week to the capital, do you have
Yep.
any idea if you wanted to go to the capital in that bus, how long the ride would take and how much it is?
We live, like I said, 80 kilometers from Kojake. It takes us in car on a good on a summer's day, an hour, 15 minutes.
Okay.
On a winter day, 2 hours
Okay.
because you're not speeding in winter. I'm telling you, you're not
Sure.
going to go far.
Yeah.
Out. Now, for the public transport, it's going to take you the same amount of time. It'll probably take you about 2 hours and a half because it'll stop on the way into town.
Okay.
And the fee is virtually nothing. It's about 2,000 pesos,
And 2,000 pesos in USD is
probably
what?
probably a dollar,
A dollar
roughly. Yeah.
for a 2.5 hour trip to the
Yeah.
capital. So
Yeah.
do
Worst case scenario, winter will probably be about five because it's more fuel and you've got the air conditioning and stuff like that, and they've got the chains. But you're looking at it's really cheap.
my next question is that if you need it, you're in Patagonia, you're going to need a 4x4. That's what you recommend. If you're going to get around, you need to get a 4x4. So that typically is a large expense for most people that are watching this. They're going, I don't want to invest that kind of money into a 4x4 vehicle because they're so expensive. So let me ask you this. Are vehicles that expensive down there? If it is like, let's say you want a used 4x4 vehicle, what can you find it for down there?
Well, when we came from Temuco, we had a simple Ute, which was just two-wheel drive, and that was a bad mistake. Um, we bought a used Dodge Ram because I like American cars, and that cost us 6 million peso. 6 million peso, which is roughly I can't do the calculations off the top of my head.
Here, I'll check real quick right now. So it's saying it's about
Yeah,
$6,000.
that's about right.
$6,000 in USD.
Dodge Ram 2010, good suspension, good quality, a beast.
Yeah. Okay.
It's something we need in the country, and that's four-wheel drive too. Now there are. If you don't want a four-wheel drive and you want to live in the city, you can buy anything. You can buy
Sure.
a small car,
Yeah.
used car, a brand new. Let's say a brand new Toyota Hilux. You're looking at about 30 million peso, which is about 30,000, 29,000
Yeah.
US dollars.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's the
But
same thing
you
here.
don't.
So, Rodrigo, let's back up a little bit. So, when you moved from Australia, you grew up in Australia. You were there for like how many years? Like 30 years or something?
30 years. I went through the system:
Okay.
primary school, high school, college.
Okay. So you were there for 30 years, but then you said we got tired and we moved to
Yeah,
Chile.
the family.
So
My family.
your entire
My
family?
brother. Yep, entire family. There's only three of us. My father died when I was young, so it's been just three of us for most of the time.
Okay. So you
Okay.
live with your mother and you live with your brother.
Yep.
Okay. Wow, that's fascinating. Okay, great. Um, all right. And now you've been living in this home in Patagonia for how long now?
Since 2019.
So when you first looked at this particular area, did you guys move down there and rent a place? Are there rentals down there, or how did you do this? What does the process look like?
The first thing that we did was did a scouting mission, and we
Okay,
found out that it's very difficult to rent a property outside of Kojaka in the country. There's really no rentals available.
sure.
There's the usual, B&Bs and stuff like that, but that's going to cost you an arm and a leg. So you have to rent a property in Kojaka and
Okay,
then have your house built in the property that you buy outside if you want to live outside of Kojaka.
okay.
Now, The closer to Kojaka you live, the closer to the regional capital city you live, the more expensive the property. As an example,
Hmm.
if you want to buy a half a hectare, or let's say roughly half a hectare, one half an acre,
Okay.
the just for the land, just for the land, you're looking at about 60 million peso, which is about 659 to 60,000 US dollars
Yeah.
for the luxury of living close to Kojaka. Now, 60 million pesos got me 20 acres, 20 hectares, which is about 40 acres, with a river with trouts, four mountain springs, a mountain, and everything I got here. So
Wow.
mine went a lot further moving out of Kojaka than staying close to Kojaka. And
Okay.
a lot of people found that.
Rodrigo,
Now,
let me ask you
to
what
rent,
let's
yes,
back up a minute because I want to ask you if you're so for the people that are watching this and going, I want to definitely go and scout property out down there too. This is a great idea. I love what this guy is doing. So, but you got to stay in Coshake, that which is the capital of
of the
ice.
region.
Okay, so what can you get a rental for in Coshake today for?
Okay. In Kojaka, if you wanted to buy a property house in Kojaka, it's not a very good house. It's probably two bedroom, small lot. You're probably looking about 64 million just for us to live in the center, which is not. And we're talking about a not in a very good barrio or a very good zone.
Well, most people like you, they're not gonna want to buy in Kashaki. They're gonna want to scout further
Exactly.
south, so they're
Exactly.
gonna want to rent. Do you have
Yeah.
any idea what the
If
rentals
you
go for?
rent, yeah. When we had to rent out, we rented just outside the capital regional city, and we rented about 8 kilometers outside Kojaka. We paid 600,000 per month, and and when you rent, you have to pay 1 month in advance. So you're looking at 1.2 million pesos just to get your foot into the rental property there. It's a lot more expensive now.
How big was that place?
That was one hectare, which is about 1.5, 2 acres, roughly.
No, but I'm talking, how many bedrooms?
Oh, three bedrooms, one bathroom.
Okay.
Yes, it was decent. It was a good house. It was a
So a
decent
three
house.
bedroom, one bath house is going to run you about $620.
Yeah.
So then you started scouting and you
Yep.
found so share with us how
Well,
you identified and found this particular area that you're in now.
it was by accident. We looked further south because everyone that comes to Aysén says you got to go further south because of Cerro Castillo, Lake General Carrera, the marble chapels down there, all that stuff. The problem is, if you want to live in minus 21 degrees
Hmm.
in centigrade, in or Celsius, sorry, in winter, go for it. If you want a lot of wind, go for it. It's brilliant. It's beautiful in summer, beautiful in spring. In winter, it's also beautiful if you like that, but
Yeah.
it is too cold for us. So we decided we're going to look further north. If you go too far north, there's a small town called La Junta, which is the very first town that you enter into this region, La Junta. Uh, that's basically the equivalent of living in Austria. To give
Okay.
you an idea,
Hmm.
lovely pastures, brilliant for milk, for cows, milking and stuff like that, cheese.
Hmm.
And then then we found out that there was too much water there. It rained too much. So basically, we looked at the Goldilocks principle. We tried there, and we found this place here, which was in the center, 80 kilometers, and it was just perfect. The weather was fine. We had everything needed, and we found it by accident looking at a website called Japo, YAPO,
Hmm.
Punto Cero, which is where people sell properties and sell everything. Nowadays, it's not that important because Facebook has taken over
Right.
Facebook Marketplace, and
Right.
you can find a lot of properties in Facebook Marketplace at a very good price.
Okay.
And that's how we came across it. And basically, we came here, and when we first came here, this was forgotten territory. We're talking about there was nothing, absolutely nothing. You wanted to see Untamed? This was it. Imagine this. When we had the house was being constructed, the builders had to go leave the construction because they had to go home for Christmas.
Hmm.
My brother decided to stay in the house, make sure that things didn't get lost or people, because we're living in the mentality of Santiago, and we're not living in the mentality of Aysén. So we thought that everyone wanted to steal stuff from you.
Hmm.
That was the mentality coming from the north. So my brother slept here, and that first night that he slept here, you guys in the United States, you guys would call them mountain lions. We
Hmm.
call them puma.
Hmm.
A puma came down and walked straight across the veranda of the property with the rest of the family just to check out the house. And my brother woke up and saw the puma
Mm.
or the mountain lion. So
Wow.
that's how untamed it was.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
When you get a mountain lion coming knocking at your door in the middle of the night saying, "Hello, is anyone home?" you know that you're in the Patagonia.
Yeah. So how when you found the property, this property that
Yeah.
you're in right now, you found it on Yapo. How much was it? How much did you pay? And you said you have about 40
Yeah.
acres, is that correct?
40 acres.
Okay.
The property was 60 million. No, the property had been on sale at 75 million pesos. And then it went down to 60 million pesos. And that's when we came in.
Okay.
Now, you have to understand that the property was left to the hands of God. There was
Mhm.
nothing here. The tree, everything the grass was growing wild. It was wild. And my mum, she went to the middle of the land, looked around, saw the mountain peaks. You'll see it when I send you a photo. Saw the mountain peaks, saw the river because we live right up. One of our boundaries is a river called Rio Norte, and
Hmm.
it's full of trout. Two
Ooh,
types of trout:
nice.
brown trout and rainbow trout. She looked around, and the real estate guy didn't think that my mum was interested because it was wild. Um, we had four springs flooding one of the paddocks here, which made it into a sort of a swampy area, or Majin. It's called Majin. And my mum said, "Okay, I'll take it. I offer you 50 million." And the real estate agent went, spoke to and 50 million it was. 50
Okay.
million pesos for 40 acres of land with a river with 600 to 700 meters of river frontage, slopes that you can ski down if you wanted to, and a lot of and four mountain springs.
And it had a house on it?
Nope, nothing.
So
Like I said, it was left in the hands of God. It was barren. It was just nothing.
okay, so you guys had to pay to get a house built.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
So walk us through that process. So you paid 50 million pesos, which is about $50,000
Yep.
for
Just
40
US dollars.
for 40 acres of land in Patagonia. Then you
Yep.
had to build on the property.
Yep.
Was there any infrastructure? I mean, was there anything
Nothing.
connect?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay.
Nothing. We're talking about untamed land.
So you guys are living
Untouched by the hands
completely
of
off,
man.
you're living completely off grid.
All totally off grid. What we
Wow.
did, my mum found a prefabricated house company in Temuco where we used to live,
Okay.
and before we moved down here, we organized all of that, the house and the house is a brilliant house. It's well insulated. It's 24, 32 meters long. It's
Hmm.
got closed garage. It's got a self-storage thing, and it's got a veranda. You think of it as a Norwegian. It was classified as a Norwegian type of house structure.
Hmm.
Now, it is brilliant. They brought it down by truck through the ferries on two semi-trailers. The semi-trailers were able to come down the mountain pass that we've got here, which is incredible.
Hmm.
and then and it cost us the house cost us to get it totally built 53 million,
So another 50,000 basically.
another 50,000. And with that, we had the land and house for 100 million. We had land and house.
So you're
And
you're into a 40 acre plot of land and you have a river, you got beauty
well,
surrounding you and
yeah,
a house on the property now.
yeah,
You're all in basically
yeah.
for $100,000. That's pretty
100,000.
spectacular. When people up here think about Patagonia, it's like one of those places that it's a place that people would love to go check out and visit. It's on their bucket list, right? It's one of those things,
Yeah,
and you
it is. It
actually
is.
are living there.
Yeah,
Um,
the good thing about this we don't pay for water, we don't pay for electricity, and we don't pay for heating.
Tell us about that because that's the big question I was going to ask you. It's cold down there. How do you heat the house?
Wood, wood stove. We've got a wood stove and a wood, and the kitchen is a. We cook everything on in a wood cocina, wood stove. But we
Mhm.
also got a wood you call it? Heater. There we go.
Yeah.
And because we got so much wood around here, that's the good thing. We cut our own wood, but we don't cut trees down. Most of the trees. The good thing about Patagonia, the tree that we the is el nire, which is turns red in and nire and lenga, which are the two trees that basically grow down here. Now, the good thing about those trees is they have die-offs. Branches die, they fall off, and fall off onto the tree. It's like its own self-pruning. The trees prune themselves. And so we collect that wood, and that wood is used to heat the house and heat heat the food and heat everything.
Yeah.
Now, the electricity is solar panels.
Okay.
You need,
So you have solar panels.
yeah, you need solar panels, and that's the biggest outlay. We got into the solar panel system when it was just new here, and that cost us 6 million pesos for 10, 12 panels and the batteries and so forth. And we found that we needed what we you can use. Summer's fantastic, spring's fantastic with solar panels. Autumn's okay. Winter is the problem where you have with solar panels because the sun here, you only got about 4 or 5 hours of sun.
Hmm.
So it's not enough and you need a generator. Now, we were using a generator and we found that would cost us a bit of money. You're
Hmm.
looking at about 100,000 or, yeah, 100,000 per month
Yeah.
because petrol is expensive down here. And the petrol is expensive down here because of the distances.
Hmm.
So we had to find a way to get rid of the generator. So what we did, we installed two solar systems. So we've got a solar system that is being charged and another one that's been used, and we've got a switch. So we switch from one system to the other system. So when the one system is low, we switch to the one that's fully charged,
Hmm.
and then when that system is on its way out, we switch to the other one. So that way we don't need the generator anymore.
Very cool.
We just have solar powered system working. And we have 10 panels in each
Okay.
because in summer, basically we only use one system
Hmm.
and the other system is always charging. But we've got so much power that we could in summer that we could use, we can be welding, we can use industrial machinery and so forth.
Yeah.
In winter's now in winter we're finding that we're capable of we don't need the generator anymore. So
Okay.
no wasted money there either.
Yeah.
And as for the water is a mountain spring. We It comes from the top, goes into a massive 2,500 liter container, and then goes to a small filter. And you don't even need the filter because the water is so pure. We had it analyzed that it's so pure that you don't need anything. You just drink it straight out of the damn spring.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is
that's
amazing.
the good thing. That's the good thing about this region. Nearly every property that you go to in this region has got a mountain spring
Wow.
or a well that produces clean water.
Yeah. That is
Now, so
that's
the
amazing.
only the only place that we spend money in is food for the animals and food for us. Until we have our own invernadero is called here. I think it's called, what is it called over there? Oh my God. We could grow food in winter at the enclosed. What's
Okay.
the
Like a greenhouse.
greenhouse? That's it. Because our greenhouse was destroyed 2 years ago by a massive snowstorm.
Okay.
Once in 100 year snowstorm, where we ended up getting some places. We had nearly a meter high uh, snow drifts here, which is very uncommon where we live.
Yeah.
About 40 centimeters is about almost size of snow that we get here.
Hmm.
In our neighbours, some of our neighbours, which were over the other side of the range, they got 6 meter high snow drifts.
Yeah.
They lost animals in that year. They
Yeah.
lost hundreds of animals. Hundreds of sheep died buried underneath the snow. They couldn't get into their properties to save their animals.
Wow.
So yeah. So, but we are protected here. But that was the worst year, and we're building a new greenhouse out of all timber that we get from our own forest.
Nice.
And then, if we once that's done, we can be 100% self-sufficient. We're growing our food on our enclosed veranda.
Hmm.
If you see behind me, If you see behind me, you can see this is the veranda. This was an addition that we added to the veranda, which is all closed off. So that way we keep the cold away in winter and allows us to grow stuff in here. As you
I
can
see.
see, the
Yeah.
it's transparent roof in here.
Yes.
Further down the back there, you see some hay bales.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see it.
Yes. Yep.
It's still under construction, but that's the hay bales for the animals and so forth. But it also acts as insulation for the house and in my mum's bedroom.
Hmm.
So it's a project. It's a continuing project.
Yeah.
But eventually, if you can grow your own food here, you'll be self-sufficient, and the cost is virtually zero.
So, is there any grocery stores near you?
In little while, there are people that grow stuff. I mean, there are grocery stores, little they call them almacenes,
Okay.
little shops which
Yes.
provide you everything if necessary. It's a lot cheaper to go there, buy the stuff there, than travel 80 kilometers to Kojake and spend nearly a quarter of a tank full of gas.
Okay.
So there's also police. There's also a first aid station, a little hospital. They called posta, una posta, which is like a medical center.
Yeah.
So every little town has got it. So
Okay.
that way, everyone, no matter where you live, you're always close to some. And if something really, really bad happens, you got carabineros, which are the police. They'll come in there with a helicopter and take you out and take you home, take you to where you need to go.
Okay. So you guys are still relying on the grocery stores in this town, Narejo,
Yeah, yeah,
currently because you're not completely fully growing
not
enough
yet,
food or catching enough
not yet.
fish or yet.
We got a lot of meat. We got a lot of meat because what we've got cattle, we've got sheep, and we've got goats,
I see.
and we don't buy chickens. We got our chicken coops are in front of the house, close to the house,
Hmm.
because of the predators that we have in the area.
Uh-huh.
Rem- uh, We don't only have the pumas; they don't come down because we got livestock dogs, Grand Pyrenees, and they protect all the animals. Before that, we'd lost a couple of sheep, goats,
Okay.
and a lot of chickens. But now we're fine with that because we got foxes here,
Mhm.
foxes, and what you guys call weasels, we call them bisones. In Canada and the United States, you guys kill hunt. kill those and use them for furs and the weasels. Those long things are about this long. They look cute, ferrets. In other places are called ferrets or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Here they're visones and they were introduced and they cause havoc to the chickens.
Interesting.
When we
Okay.
first when we first arrived, we lost 21 chickens in one night.
Wow. All from
And that
those little
basically,
ferrets?
yep, they
The
kill, they chop
wow.
the heads off, and they leave the whole body there, and they kill them.
Wow.
And then they they were introduced by an Americans who came down here, brought them down here to make a fur industry. And then because the fur industry didn't go, the Yanks just let them loose into the wild. And because there is no predators to kill them, they thrived.
Sure. Yeah.
And basically, the good thing is you've got to have a dog like I have that hates them and kills them.
Yeah. Well, Rodrigo, let's go through some of your expenses.
Okay.
So you guys bought this land for about $100,000. Does Chile tax you?
Nope.
Is there anything you have to pay per month?
Nope. Because we live in the back of Whoop Whoop, as they in Australia would be called it, in close to the border, we're considered as making hacienda patria, which is roughly translated making you know, making country would be the translation. It would be where we are here basically telling everyone around the Argentines, because theoretically our neighbors are our enemies. So we're telling them that this belongs to Chile. There's a person living here, so this is Chilean territory, Hacienda Patria. That's why when you come down to La Patagonia, you'll see that every little country house or farm fly flag, the Chilean flag.
Uh-huh.
That's basically your Hacienda Patria. You're basically declaring that this is sovereign Chilean territory. Now, because we live outside the city and in the mountains, close to the border with Chile, we pay no taxes, land tax, nothing,
So
nothing.
so
Because we
you
don't have electricity, because we don't have water, because we don't have plumbing or we don't need those stuff. We don't pay taxes, anything, contributions to the nothing.
what do you do for the plumbing and the going to the bathroom? What do you guys do?
Oh, we got the system. Everything's working. We got a septic system.
You got a
Uh,
septic system put in.
yeah,
Okay.
septic system, and we've got the here they've got these little satchels. We call them los visitos, little satchels that you pour into the WC flush, goes into the septic system, and it's all the poop and black water comes out and feeds into the land, producing fertile land.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
the grey water goes into the country too and produces into the land. That's why we've got such green land, I suppose.
Yeah. Now,
So
are
we,
you
we
hunters, Rodrigo? Are you hunters? Do you guys go out and hunt and do you fish out there to get the trout out of the
yeah, we here it is brilliant. If you want to live, if you like hunting, we've got wild pigs, we've got red deer, which was introduced by the English, and we've got the fish, of course. We've got salmon, we've got trout, and and we've got a lot of rabbits.
Okay. So good, some
Yeah,
good rabbit stew.
yeah, yeah. Good rabbit stew, and if you like hunting, it's hunting paradise out here.
Yeah.
Imagine, imagine, the other day there was a red deer male just out the front singing for with six horns. I don't know, the antlers were six points everywhere. So it's
Hmm.
huge beast. So you can
Okay.
find them all over the place. They come down into your property to eat in winter, and then they go back into the mountains.
What do you use to hunt with?
Normally a rifle.
A rifle. Okay, so you can legally purchase guns in that area.
You have to go through to if you want to buy a gun, you have to apply for it. Go see a doctor. he'll give you a whether you're a lunatic or not, a psychiatrist, and then with that you go to the fill out the paperwork, pass it on to the police. The police, if you live in the city, yeah, it's a lot more complicated because the police you have to have a plan of the where you live. You have to have a gun safe and so forth, and the cops have to go have a look at it. But out in the country, it's a lot more easy because you live in the country, and in
Sure.
the country, it's something that's needed. Shotgun, rifle. You
Hmm.
don't really need guns. Just need a shotgun, rifle.
Yeah. Well, let's look at some of the prices because there's got to be some price. So you guys pay for some groceries for three of you. What do
Yep.
you think you estimate per month
Okay.
on groceries when you go to Narehawa?
Nirawa.
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 Yeah. Nire. Wow.
Nirawa. Yeah, I'm gonna keep
And
messing it up. But I mean, but
it,
you guys are
we
obviously you're
do.
going there probably every week, every month to pick up some groceries and
No,
necessities. How much?
Nirawa. What we do is Nirawa is a plan B. What we do is every month we go to the capital city of the region and we buy in stock in
Okay.
bulk. So you're looking at okay for just the house. You see, we make our own bread too. So
Okay.
everything is done. So we we pay about 170,000 for the house. That's food for the house.
Uh,
170,000 pesos
Per month.
per month.
The 170, it's like you're at a basically you're paying about $175 per
Yep.
month.
Yep.
Per month for three of
Before
you.
that, yep. Before that, we only paid about 70 to 80,000.
And you're not paying anything for utilities. You don't have any rent. You don't have any
Nope.
tax. So
Nope.
that's clear and free. So what other expenses do you have out there? Do you have any restaurants? Do you ever go out to eat?
Not really. Not really because we got everything here. In general, if you live in the city, people that like to go out, they go out, and even then, it's not that expensive. Let's say a family of four could easily for about 50,000,
Okay.
which isn't bad.
Yeah.
But on special occasions, maybe birthdays, will go out, but in general, we don't
Okay.
because we've got to.
Okay, let's
We eat
cancel
better.
that out.
We eat better here. We eat better at home.
Okay.
Imagine if you go to a restaurant and you ask for a trout dish, they're going to pay. They're going to ask you. They're going to charge you an arm and a leg. When all I have
Mhm.
to do is just go down, walk 100 meters down to the river where I live, that I live on, because you could say I have 600, 700 meters of river frontage.
Yeah.
Over to the north to full of trout, and all I have to do is just throw the line out there, and I can pick up as much trout. There's so much trout in there that in an hour I could take a 12, 13 trout and put them in my freezer, and I've got trout.
Yeah. Good eating.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. And then all I do is just pull out a saucepan, get the trout, shove it on the wood stove, bang! I've got trout for lunch.
Yeah. What do
Or
you
if I need
when you Rodrigo, when you make a meal like that, what do you include with the meal? What else do you make with the trout?
potatoes,
You do?
carrots,
Okay.
yeah, we got all the pumpkins. We got rice.
Okay.
You see, in Chile, if you want rice, you have to go and buy it.
Hmm.
Potatoes, you can grow your own potatoes. We grow our own potatoes. We grow
Okay.
our own carrots.
Yeah.
Uh, but rice, flour, you have to go buy. Next year, we hope to grow our own wheat and then mill that to produce our own flour. But you
Hmm.
still got to go and buy your wheat, the flour. You need the you know, the in Canada, what levadura? What's levadura? Yeast. The yeast to make the bread rise.
Yeah.
You need salt. Sugar is another thing that you need. So those things you have to go buy. You need to go buy them.
Sure. Yeah.
That's what you know. That's what most of the money goes to spend into stuff that you can't do. Coffee, if you want tea, coffee. For example, I don't know what it costs over there in the US or Canada, but this is to give you an idea of the costs. A kilo of um, a kilo of tomatoes is 1,600 peso.
Hmm.
A A cabbage is 3,000 peso. A big cabbage. We're looking at a big soccer ball sized cabbage.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Coffee, instant coffee, you're looking at about 3,400 peso.
Okay.
Tea is the cheapest. If you want luxury stuff like, let's say, prosciutto, a leg of prosciutto, which is a leg of ham,
Yeah.
it is 26,000 for a leg of ham, and that'll
Hmm.
last for a long time.
You guys ever buy any like wine, or do you
Oh
make?
yeah, wine, wine in Chile is cheap.
Okay.
It is cheap to get drunk in Chile.
How much is a
For
bottle of
example,
wine there?
2,000 peso, and that's good
And that's
local
so that's
wine.
$2. That's $2 a bottle.
Yeah. If you want to pay for the good stuff, you're looking at about the most expensive is about 10,000 peso,
So
10, 12,000.
10 bucks. Wow.
Yeah. And that is good wine. We're talking about
Yeah.
top shelf wine. Top shelf.
It's coming from Mendoza, right?
Nope. Coming from Chile. Nothing, nothing from Argentina. My brother saying nothing from Argentina.
I can tell you guys are diehard Chileans. I can
Yeah.
tell.
The wine here, even the bad wine is really good.
Yeah.
Table wine. It's like France. France has got the French table wine is the cheap stuff, and
Yeah.
that is good stuff.
Hmm.
Same here. The Chilean cheap stuff is really good stuff.
Yeah.
And
It
you
looks
then
like
if
it
you want
looks like your brother's working pretty hard back there. He's probably going. He's like, when is Rodrigo going to start working?
that's my
I'm
brother
doing
saying.
everything.
Yeah, he just yeah, we just well, we cut up wood over there so to keep the heaters running and the wood stove burning.
Yeah.
So and we just pick it up. It's something daily that we do every day.
Okay, let's get into another expense that I know that you have. You got to pay
Yep.
for gas. You got to
Yeah.
get around, so you pay for gas. What do you think you budget for gas for? Do you have any generators and plus your vehicle, your Ram?
Well, before we had the two solar panel systems running, we would spend per month about 100,000 in generator.
Okay.
Basically, we're lucky now. Now it's about 60,000 roughly. We only
You're,
basically what we do is when we go to Cogeco, we fill the car up and have two um, bidones, two let's say petrol tanks, petrol things, 20 liters each, filled up to the top, which gives us petrol to run the chainsaws
hmm. Okay.
when we need them.
Yeah.
So the generator is only we only use the generator if we have to go to work with heavy machinery in elsewhere in
Hmm.
the barn or stuff like that. And
Okay.
that we charge along with the generator in the back of the truck and just turn that on. So,
Okay.
but now that we've got the two systems, we're finding that we don't really need the generator anymore. Now we have to run lines to the barn, a run line of electricity to the goat sheds and stuff like that.
Sure. Okay.
So the cost of living has gone down, but in general, because Aysén is in the Patagonia, the petrol is expensive.
The other expense that I can see, and I don't know if you are even paying for this or if you're even covered, but healthcare. What do you guys do for healthcare?
You spoke to the wrong person about healthcare. We never get. This is the funny thing. The family has got a funny gene, and this has been proven that we don't get sick. Don't get sick at all. Probably get the flu
Yeah.
when the pandemic came around. We didn't get it inoculated.
Hmm.
We went to the city without any problems. No worries. We never ever get sick. The worst thing that could ever happen to us is a head cold. Now,
Okay.
health system. Now that the health system in Chile is not great.
Hmm.
If we got sick, really sick, if my mum got sick, it would be a lot cheaper for her to jump on an aeroplane and go to Australia and get Medicare there.
I see.
Gives you an idea. It's probably the same for a lot of the Americans or French people that live here. Unless you've got money, right? You're better off going to a private hospital or a private physician and get seen there, because the public physician, public healthcare is not the greatest.
Okay.
Good.
Is it free?
No.
Okay. And
Yes.
you
No.
and you're not paying any tax, so you probably can't even get it. Is that correct?
You'll get it. In no hospital, it is against the law to be denied healthcare,
Hmm.
right? But if you go and you get and you got the bad luck to get put into a bed there, you're gonna. It's like, I think it's like the United States. It's going to be in the millions of pesos of medical fees and stuff like that. So you don't want to get sick and shit.
Do you have any idea how much health insurance is there? Yeah.
No, no idea. But it's not expensive. It's not expensive. You can a lot of the people. It's a lot cheaper than Australia, and it's a lot cheaper than the United States. Put it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So if you something happens to you, if something happens, if you break an arm, you can go to any hospital and they'll treat you there. And then
Mhm.
they have to treat you. It's by law. You cannot be kicked out. You cannot be thrown away. You have to be treated there. And then you work out the funding or how you pay for the medical stuff. And you're not going to be hammered like with a bill that you need to pay X amount of time. Here they've got a quota system, or in Australia we call lay-by,
Hmm.
where you organize you discuss with the hospital or wherever how much you're going to be able to pay this month, and you pay it off slowly. So
Hmm.
you're not going to be have a noose around your neck saying you have to pay off this and straight away. But healthcare, the worst health pharmacy is the closest healthcare that we have.
Okay.
For me to discuss healthcare, it's I don't know. I can't really say anything. We're pretty
Well,
healthy, thank God.
how old is your mother?
She's 80 something.
Okay. And she doesn't get sick.
Never gotten sick.
Is she
Never.
is she close by? You can put her on camera?
Yeah, I'll go call her. I'll see if she can come around. All right.
Get your mom in here.
Um, Ma, I'll see if she's on the radio. We all have little radios around here.
Oh, I see.
Carl, there.
And your mother doesn't have any physical ailments. She's pretty healthy and in her 80s.
Hey, Carlos, can you get Mum to come to the front? Ray wants to meet her.
You don't you don't have your mother chopping the wood out there, do you?
No, he's moving the sheep from one paddock to another, so the dogs can go out and do their little their necessities.
No.
Because our dogs like like living inside the house and sleeping on top of the beds.
Yeah, no, I was asking if you have your mother out there chopping wood.
No, 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 no. No. She's she's in the wood stove. She's see, we finished baking when we started this. We just finished baking some bread, and
Mhm.
now she's heating up we've got potatoes going, so they're preparing food for later.
Nice. That is
So
like
she's
you guys
helping
are
around.
you are lit. So it's interesting. Rodrigo, let me ask you this one big question. It's interesting. What type of a person do you have to be to choose to live the way that you're living?
Independent, tough, and someone that wants freedom. Because in the city, you can consider yourself free, but you're not free because you've got a neighbor that's right next to you, a neighbor on the other side. And if you put your music too loud, they start complaining, start calling it. Here, the way my mum put it is she can run around naked in her paddock. No one's going to complain.
Hmm.
We can put our music so loud that no one's going to complain.
Yeah.
We're basically free here. We can do whatever we want. The real meaning of freedom.
Yeah.
And no one's gonna say that you can't do this, you can't do that, or complain that why are you doing this or why are you doing that. So here she is. And that's my mother.
Hi. How are you?
Very well, thank you. It's no good to complain.
That's great.
He was asking whether we get sick or anything like that, and I said no, we don't get sick at all.
Uh,
Head cold.
I'm 80. This year, I'm going to be 80.
Wow.
I've been seeing a doctor for
Since you left Australia.
since I left Australia.
30
And I saw
years.
that doctor because the country, Chile, uh, asked me for a medical certificate.
Wow.
Been no more, no.
Like I said, there's a gene. There's a gene in the family.
Well, your
That's
mother,
basically
your mom
protectors.
looks fantastic. What is
No,
your
no, no.
name? What's your mother's name?
Maria Cristina.
Maria.
Maria Cristina.
Marina.
Maria.
Maria.
Cristina.
Yeah.
Cristina. Well,
Yeah.
mucho gusto.
El gusto, the same.
Mhm.
And what I was going to tell you, uh, la mala hierba no se puede matar.
In Spanish, basically, that's saying that the bad herb you can't kill a weed. Basically, that's the rough translation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good
Okay.
to see you.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. You
Say
guys
bye bye.
what a wonderful life you guys have there.
Okay.
Fantastic. So Rodrigo, I guess the only prices that I see you guys paying is the groceries, and that's $175 a month. And
For us, it's the groceries, and then there's the food for the animals, because we got cattle, we got sheep, and we got goats,
how much do you
and the
pay for
chicken.
the food for the animals?
About 200,000.
Okay, so $200 for the food for the animals. Okay. And then you guys pay about $60 a month for gas, and that's it.
Yes, yeah, 60 to 80. Yeah,
You're not paying anything for healthcare.
no, and we pay 47,000 peso for Starlink.
Oh, so you have Starlink, so you're paying for the Wi-Fi. What do you pay for your cell phone?
Um, 20,000, 29,000, but I'm going to get rid of that plan and go with Starlink Mini. So that way, the idea is to have Starlink Mini in the car and have Starlink in the house. So when we go to Kojake, we're always connected no matter where we are. Because between where the house is and the city is, there are a lot of dead zones.
Yeah.
And with Starlink, you don't have any dead zone.
Yeah.
So that's a good. So if Elon Musk is watching, that was a paid commercial. I need my money.
Exactly. So here's the last question. Basically, I cover this right in the beginning, but for the viewers excited after watching this podcast about the possibility of maybe moving to Chile or moving to Patagonia, what are the visa requirements like for the people from Australia, Canada, the US, UK that are going, I might want to do what Rodrigo did. How do I do it? And can I qualify in Chile? What are the qualifications for visa requirements?
Well, be a tourist first. Come over on a 30-day or 90-day visa,
Okay.
and during those 90 days, start the paperwork.
Okay.
Start the paperwork. You have to go to Extranjería or the what's it called? Chile Attende, which is a thing that they'll tell you everything you need to do to start your residency application here.
Okay.
Now, during that time, you've got to have your finances up and running. All the finances, let's say you have to be able to prove that the money that you have isn't drug money or gun running or anything like that.
Sure.
So you have to have all that documentation ready, and you have to have basically be able to prove that you'll be self-sufficient or you won't be a burden on the country.
Mhm.
So by the time that the 90 days are up, you've done all that paperwork, then the process for residency will start. And then they'll allow you to stay. They'll give you the green light. You can stay while you get your residency paperwork done.
Yeah, I think their minimum income requirement right now is about approximately 1,500 a month that you
Yeah.
have to prove. But it's got to be a steady passive or pension that it's coming from.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you can think of that we didn't discuss that could be beneficial to anyone who's
Security.
considering living or moving to Chile like you?
Security is. You remember in the 50s? I don't know. In when I was growing up in the 70s, you could leave your front door open and no one would run into the house and rob you or anything like that. You
Yeah.
would always you would walk down the street and people would say hello, goodbye, and how are you, and they would know
Yeah.
you and stuff like that. ASEN is like that. It's like living in the 50s.
Mhm.
For example, when I go by, my stuff on the back of my truck is loaded to the top with dog food, flour, fruits. You can leave the car with the keys in it outside the shop, go inside, do your groceries, buy your groceries, come back, and the car would still be there and there'd be nothing taken out of the back. That's ASEAN.
Yeah, yeah.
You could drive down, you could drive down the road and you could say hello to everybody and everybody knows you. Even if you didn't know them, they already knew who you were because the neighbor would speak to somebody else who'd speak to somebody else and they'd know that you're the crazy Australian that bought the land down there and they say hello. So there's that feeling of community.
Hmm.
Uh, it is safe to live down here. You're not going to you can walk at 2 o'clock at night down the main street and you're not going to get mugged, stolen. You can have your car, the doors in your car can be left open. And it's not going to get driven away or
Hmm.
stolen. And if by some stupid reason someone does steal it, you want them to be caught by the cops first because if the locals catch them, the locals will beat the living out of them.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
they catch them, that's it. But
Right.
it's not something, and it's one of the last places in the world where you that I know of where you shake a person's hand and their word is worth more than money.
Yeah. Wow.
So, and if you break your word in this part of the world, I guarantee you, everybody will know that you're the person that breaks their word.
Right. Sure.
Everybody.
Yep.
It, there's basically in ASEAN, there's only about 100,000 people that live here. 100,000 people. There's only 60,000 people that live in the capital city, or roughly 50,000, something like that.
Hmm.
So the rest is the people that live on the outskirts. So it's
Sure.
not it's a small community.
Well, Rodrigo Deplaza, thank you so much for taking the time out to share your life and all of this information about this beautiful place that you live in Chile, Patagonia. I appreciate it.
No worries. From an Australian in Chile and Patagonia, you should come down and visit. It's brilliant.
One day I will make my way down there and I will look you up and we'll go get a $2 bottle of wine.
You'll be amazed how good it is.
All right, buddy. Well, you have a good rest.
Yeah, you live good here. You'd live cheap and good,
Yeah.
healthy too.
Yep. Well, it looks like it. Okay. Well, you have a great rest of the day and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.